Hey, Tim Sykes here with another daily video lesson. I just got done with 2 straight days of in-person coaching. I'm so proud of you guys who I taught, not just for the money that you made, but for your education and your determination. Although I do have to call out one student in particular, Kenny, my boy. He has now made $7,000 over the past 3 days, and he's done that before too, but now it's different because he's learned to lock in profits. And that's today's video lesson main key point. Lock in profits. I know you want to hold. I know you want bigger profits. I know that greed is tough, but with these crazy stocks, remember that 90% of traders lose money in all different niches. You want to lock in profits. And if you have that mentality, you'll be surprised at how quickly your overall profits continue. So let's talk about a few different stocks. This chart looks pretty boring, right? On PMKR. It is not boring. Before I begin, also, I should mention this sale is over, okay? I did not want to extend it at all. I have caught up with all of the email questions, but because today is such a special day, and you'll see why in a little bit, we are extending this just 24 more hours for all you procrastinators, for all you latecomers, for all of you people who think that I'm a scam and that education is a scam. By the end of this video, you will see, hopefully, that it's not. And you will have one final opportunity to save 30, 40, 50, 60% off different newsletters and guides. You should all be watching my How to Make Millions DVD, and specifically my Penny Stocking Part 2, and Penny Stocking Framework DVD. It is crazy how well these patterns are working. And for just a few $100s, this education will make you thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of dollars if you are truly dedicated. But I have laid it all out. I have been working for the past decade on these guides. My How to Make Millions DVD is the most comprehensive. It all goes to charity. Some of you are worried, oh, you just make money on DVDs. I don't make a dime off this. It all goes to charity, and we have now raised $2 million, which was my initial goal for charity, but it's going to keep going. And this is a 35-hour DVD. It explains all the basics, the ins and outs, and the patterns. So let us talk about the patterns for a second, because this stock is only up 3% today. Pretty boring, right? Well, the pattern that, again, I trade by is very good. I was buying it in here in the 820, 825 range because it had already spiked, first of all. I don't try and predict spikes ahead of time. A lot of people say, Tim, how do you know which stock is going to spike big? I don't. I know which stocks have spiked big and which stocks likely have more legs, have more upside based on the news. Some stock spikes, I don't think that they're going to go higher. Some stock spikes, I think that they're actually going to go lower, and the spike is wrong, and it's a good time to bet against it. But when you have the right setup and you have the right catalyst and you have the right news, that is when you can really make money. And before I even talk about my trade, I'm so proud of my student, Eric. I have to give him a quick shout out. Eric, this was just literally over a week ago, and he was closing in on $100,000 in profits. Today, he made nearly $5,000 on these two trades, which I'll go over in a second, and he is over $100,000. He is just the latest six-figure student. So when you look at a lot of these trades that I'm talking about and a lot of these students that I'm talking about where they make 200 or the stock goes up 3% and you're like, God, it's going to take me forever to make $1 million. Eric just began with me roughly a year ago, okay? And he has now turned 5,000 into 100,000, and it's just 5,000 in a day, okay? It's not like he did 5,000 into 100,000 in one trade, but it adds up over time. This is the beauty of me teaching something that's real. I know there's many people out there who think that I'm a scam, but day by day, student by student, trade by trade, I am proving them wrong. And that's what I love. I don't need you to believe me. I just need you to give me a chance. Remember, my first millionaire student, Michael Good, thought that I was full of BS. He gave me a chance. He's now closing in on nearly 2 million. So all I want is that chance. You don't need to completely love this strategy. You don't need to believe me, but just give me a chance. That's all I ask. And the people that I actually taught in person the past few days, you know, a few of them, Kenny made $7,000. A few of them made like 600. One guy, Brian, made like 600. And he, you know, fully admitted, look, I thought you were a scam at first. but he gave me a chance. Now he's learning. He lost 40 grand on his own. I'm sorry to call you out like that, Brian. It doesn't really matter. You know, everybody loses in the beginning, whether you lose 2 grand, 5 grand, 10 grand, 40 grand, 100 grand. I know some people who have lost millions in the past when they don't have patterns or rules or guidance. Trading is very dangerous. I don't care if you're trading penny stocks or Forex or whatever, okay? The whole fucking trading world can be thought of as a scam if you have no rules and no discipline, because you're just trading random stuff. You could say that casinos are a scam. You could say that sports betting is a scam. Those actually are more like scams, because you can have all the rules in the world and you still won't necessarily win at casinos or sports betting. The odds aren't good enough. But with these patterns, if you study hard, like Eric has, you can actually grow your account exponentially and methodically. One $400 profit, one $5,000 profit at a time. So here is PMKR. Boring little 3% winner today. And yet, for me, I actually made nearly $400 on it. It was a good little winner for me because I bought it yesterday, held it overnight, did not waste a day trade, and guess what? Small position, and I'm making 5% on my money overnight. And I didn't have to sell. You know, I could still be up a little bit more right now, but I like locking in profits. How did I know to buy? Well, this is an earnings winner. Okay, earnings winners for me are not based on what you see on bullshit channels like CNBC where a company reports better than expected. This company did report better than expected numbers, but for me, I want to see a good reaction, a good spike in reaction to the earnings, and I want to see a multi-month breakout. Do you see the high here? Right around 840, 850. This one was not a gimme. I actually bought it at 820, 825 because I was anticipating the 840 to break. The problem with this one is that you have a 5-cent spread. There's a few hundred stocks right now that are being tested in this new 5-cent spread, experimental program. And it really kind of limits the stock's upside because it's so tough to try and catch the exact breakout. So I actually had to buy it before the breakout to even make it worth my time. The good news is with the 5-cent spread, the stocks don't really budge that much. So when I'm buying it here in the 820s, my risk really was like 810, 815. I might lose like 5 or 10 cents. So if I might lose 5 or 10 cents, and right now it's at 870, which is exactly, best case scenario, you can make 50 cents. That's called trading, okay? Where you could potentially make 50 cents and you could potentially lose 10 cents. That is 5-to-1 risk reward. And I talk about that in my How to Make Millions DVD and my free Trader Checklist DVD too. If you have not seen that, go to traderchecklist.com. It is free until the end of the year. I actually have to start making some posts of how we're going to charge for Trader Checklist for real on January 1st because, frankly, it's just too good of a value, and I want you watching it ASAP. So if you want a free DVD, you go to traderchecklist.com. But this was a good risk-reward trade, okay? Even though it was small money. But this kind of money can add up. Here is my other trade today, where I made nearly 2 grand on NVCN. A lot of people were against this. A lot of people thought that, I'm breaking my rules. I'm buying a stock that's red on the day. If you have good risk reward, it's okay to try some speculative trades. And those of you guys who were learning in person from me yesterday, you knew. And those of you who read my watch list, you knew that I was looking at this as a potential dip buy. I actually wanted this to drop down even more. NVCN, for those of you who don't know or don't remember, I was buying this initially. It had already spiked from 50 cents to nearly $1.50 on news that they were doing a deal with Boston Scientific. Boston Scientific is a $28 billion company, so when a little piece of crap penny stock does a deal with a nearly $30 billion company, and there's a lot of money exchanged, like literally like $75 million, that's meaningful. But you don't necessarily want to chase it, because if you look at NVCN in the long run, okay, the past 100 days, it looks like it's great. Well, if you look back over 200 days, not so great. If you look back over the past 2 years, actually pretty freaking terrible. And this is most penny stocks. So you have to be aware of the upside, but you also have to be aware of the risk. So when I was buying it initially in here on the dip at like 86 cents, that's fine. Or 88 cents. No, 86 cents. And I was selling it at like 88 cents. It really didn't do much the first day. And this is what is so interesting about penny stocks, and this is why I love them. While most people say, oh, penny stocks are a scam, you can really have a lot of time. I mean, the big news was on day one. It had a little more news here on day three, but this stock was in play, and really on day three was when the big spike happened. And I know a lot of short sellers that got absolutely crushed because they're shorting a contract winner, they're shorting a stock that has good news, and frankly, they just underestimated it. There's a lot of twisted, demented short sellers out there that think that every company is a scam, every company is worthless, and they claim that anybody who buys them is just an idiot or a sheep or something like that. Well, guess what? This stock was actually a far better long than it was ever a short. Yes, it has dropped off the highs, but it was a very choppy, very, very choppy drop off the highs, and it was just much easier to buy. And I know a lot of you guys who made 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 cents a share. Some of you even made $1 or $1.50 a share on the way up. So are you guys idiots? Fine, whatever you want to label it. I'm an idiot, okay? I don't care about labels. I care about patterns and I care about profits. So knowing that it was a far better, spiker on the way up than it was a short, I know how frustrated short sellers are. And they think it's going to drop from 325 all the way back down to 50 cents because they are truly demented. The good news is when a stock drops from 330 down to even 2-ish, I mean, this is a 40% drop. If you know Fibonacci levels, 38% drops are usually consolidation buy signals. I wasn't so sure about buying it yesterday, though, because it was just the first down day. You have to look at the daily chart. First red day, you don't really want to buy that because that usually leads to a gap down and a morning panic. So today, I was ready for a morning panic. I really wanted a morning panic. But there was support here at 190-ish. You could clearly see it. I didn't know that it was going to necessarily bounce back. I didn't know that I was going to be right. But right here, when it's down, 10% on the day, guess what? There's support going back to right here at 189. Even though it's lower than yesterday's low of like 198, it's barely lower. So you can look at 189 and 190-ish as a congestion zone that, wait a minute, this stock could bounce a little bit. And that's exactly what happened. And even though this doesn't look like much on the chart, this is a nearly 20% bounce. That's the beauty of penny stocks. You don't need to be very right to make a lot of money on a small position. So this was my trade. I was dip buying it initially right near the open because, frankly, again, I wanted a bigger panic. I would have loved to load up in the 150s, 160s where there's more support. But I saw support at 190-ish, so I bought some, just a very small position. And, this is a number 5 pattern from my Penny Stocking Framework DVD. As I said, I know a lot of you guys like very simple patterns. Well, this is a very simple pattern. Number 5 is a classic dip buying opportunity when a hot stock drops too much too quickly. Shorts, in order to take their profits, even if they're frustrated, they have to take their profits, or they should. And by them taking profits, they buy to cover the stock goes up, and we got a 20% bounce. I did not capture it all, mind you. Okay? On EMKR, I took, a really good piece of the move. On this one, I was in. I had to actually add to my position because it went lower. I wanted to add lower. I would have loved to add, 10,000 shares here at 185 or 180 or something. But it just didn't get there. And by the way, I actually added 6,400 shares. This was a typo. I'm trying to get out the alert. Sometimes there's a typo. So I had 10,000 shares at around 190-ish. And then, 20, 30 minutes later, I sold into the bounce. And I didn't have to. Even right now, I mean, it actually went all the way up to 220. So my goal on the second buy, I said, looks to have found support at 190-ish. I actually wanted to go lower, because I think it can only go back to the 210 area. So you can adjust your, ranges. At first, I thought that, okay, I'm buying the dip at 192. I think this has 20 to 40 cents of upside, meaning I think this can go to like 210 to maybe 230 on the bounce if there's a squeeze. When I added, I adjusted my range down to 210 because why? Well, when it initially tried to bounce, 210 was the high. And I'm not trying to predict that it's necessarily going to break that level. I just think that it's undervalued, and when shorts do cover, it's going to bounce. And that's exactly right. It got up to 220, and now here it is at 208. So I didn't capture the whole move, but this is a pretty good little nearly 10% profit. More important than the money, more important than the 10% profit, is that I executed my plan well. I went in with a plan. I executed it. It was a good plan because it's based on, frankly, my penny stocking framework DVD. I've seen this pattern again and again and again. And there were quite a few people that are like, Tim, why are you dip buying this? This can go to 150. And I clearly saw the congestion zone here in the 190 range because that's exactly where they had the congestion zone right here just a few days ago before the big short squeeze. So by the end of the day, I don't know what happens here. It's still not green on the day. I don't care what happens. I went in for my 10 to 20% profit and I got it. The stock is plenty liquid, 9 million shares traded. I bought a lousy 10,000 shares. I'll do this trade again and again and again. PMKR, a little less liquid, only like 700,000. It'll probably trade like 1 million on the day, but I had 1,000 shares. So you keep everything proportional and within reason. Guess what? You can make nearly 2,000 on the day, which is what I'm up. Props to so many more of you, not just Eric. And I want you guys retweeting him. Retweet this guy. Give him a like. I mean, we're here to support each other, okay? It's not us versus us in the stock market. It's us versus the market. And we need to help each other, inspire each other, which Eric does great job, on Twitter, and help each other, really learn and see what is best. This world is bullshit because of the lack of transparency. So few people want to talk about the money that they're making or losing. So few people want to talk about successful patterns and rules because they're selfish. And I'm trying to change that. And I know it's tough to change the selfish nature of Wall Street and trading, but you got to change, guys. The future is all about transparency and helping each other. That, my friends, makes this game not just profitable, but fun and fulfilling. And that's what you should want. So props to Eric. And I'd appreciate it if you guys go on Twitter, go to Eric Russell 1 and tweet at him, congratulate him. We're a community. This is the reason why we have 110,000 traders now on Profitly. We're all trying to help each other, push each other, do better, maximize each other's, profits, and really hard work. I mean, Eric did not turn 5,000 into 100,000 very easily. It took a lot of studying. But the good news is once you turn 5,000 into 100,000, he can go from 100,000 to 300,000 to 500,000 to 1 million. He's on the right path. Many of you guys don't realize this. My top student, Tim Grittani, for those of you who don't know, just got to show you one more time what he did because some people don't believe it. Some people think that I photoshopped this. This is an actual CNN article. I did not photoshop this. This is a real article. This is Tim Grittani. He turned 1,500 into 1 million in 3 years. He's closing in on 3.5 million now in his 4th year. Why? Because he studied and he focused. And you guys helped him. You helped him stay motivated. And that's what I want for all of you. I took him to the Maldives for his first overseas trip when he passed $100,000. So leave a comment. Where should I take Eric Russell for his success? Because I want to motivate you guys. I love taking students on trips. I'm taking students to the Maldives and the British Virgin Islands. I need to do more. I love traveling. And the fact is that you can do this from anywhere. It should be like that. The fact that, Traveler turns 1,500 into 1 million. I mean, he just got back from Iceland. I think he's in Puerto Rico now. Tim Grittani has a travel bug too. So it's not just the money, it's the freedom. You can do this from anywhere in the world. You don't need to have an office. There's a lot of people on Wall Street that make a lot more money than me, but they are slaves to their desk. They are slaves to their job. They're slaves to that city called New York. Anyways, I got a few more people to congratulate. Jacob, first trade by the rules. IDXG in at 17 cents, out at 43 cents. Let's talk about IDXG for a second. So I traded 2 little nice patterns for my DVDs. IDXG, this one was a first green day yesterday, and it was also a recent spiker. So I don't mind people going long overnight. And my student Kenny, who I was teaching in person, was long this overnight, and he locked in profits. And, overnight, granted, they had some news which helped the situation, but overnight, even pre-market, I mean, it's hitting the 40-cent range. Kenny and a few others were in at 15 to 20 cents because they're buying the first green day, okay? I'm not saying that that news is coming. There's no inside information. But by buying the first green day on a volatile stock, guess what? That works. You want to know how I know that works? Wait for it. Wait for it. This is in penny stocking part 2. If you watch my guides, if you watch these video lessons, if you refer back to these guides, you know that these patterns are nothing new. There's always going to be another play. And I have to say, a lot of longs, sorry, there's live trades going off right now. That's Superman, another millionaire trader on Profitly. But, you know, I got to say that a lot of people got a little lucky on IDXG with the press release today. It's okay to be lucky. Some of my biggest wins, I've gotten a little lucky with a press release, but I've been on the right track. If you're buying a first green day and you're on the right track, it's not total luck, you know? You have a little luck, but it's also the fact that you were prepared and you're trading the right patterns. So, props to Jacob. First trade. Small trade, in at 17 cents, out at 43 cents. You made 60 bucks. That's fantastic for a small gain, for a small profit, for a small account. Devin, I love this. He actually held it better. He was in at 30 cents. He put in 263 bucks, and now it's 750 bucks. All today. Freaking awesome. And he actually did not hold overnight, so he saw the press release, he bought it, and he held. And there's no one right way. I mean, it doesn't matter if you sell IDXG at 90 cents or 80 cents or 70 cents or 60 cents. You're trying to take the meat of the move. And a lot of you guys with small accounts, you're a little aggressive. That's okay. That's how you grow a small account. How else are you going to fucking grow, you know, a $263 position? It's going to be tough. If you follow CNBC, if you invest in a mutual fund, this 263 might be 300 by year end. Okay? The whole joke that is Wall Street ignores penny stocks, ignores speculative stuff because they think that this stuff is random. Because the whole world has not studied my DVDs or video lessons and seen that this stuff is not random. There's a lot of misinformation out there. Here's my student Kenny, and he made $1,700, and he's made $5,000 the past 2 days while training live with me. And he took his profits. And I'm sure Kenny right now, as he's watching this, you know, he wants more. He's like, I should have held for more. Don't do it, Kenny. This is a damn good profit. When you're under the pattern day trader rule, your number one job is to get over the pattern day trader rule to grow your account gradually. It does not matter if you sell it at 90 cents, 80 cents, 70 cents, 60 cents, or even 50 cents. You want to grow your account. And I know that's tough to accept, but Kenny has had big gains like this, but he's also had big losses by being too over aggressive. So with just a little guidance and a little following of the rules, you can cut out those big losses. It's a lot less stressful, and you can grow your account just the same. And you will love trading so much more if you don't have those big losses. Here's Orlando, and he's trading at work, starting with an account of $500, and he made $275. So you guys with small accounts, you don't have to fear trading with a small account, okay? You really don't. You can learn to take profits. You can learn to just grow your account if you focus on these stocks. He was in IDXG at 23 cents, okay? That's pretty freaking awesome. And then it was at 44 cents. And it went up to 90 cents. So it doesn't matter exactly where you sell. Don't berate yourself. A lot of you guys are like, oh, I made 300, but I could have made like 600. It's okay. You still made $300 while at work. You're probably making more from trading than you at work. Here's Joe made 270. Danny made 150. He was a little late, but again, you lock in those profits and he sees the pattern. That's what's the most important. I don't care if you make 150 or 250 or 350 or 550. No one trade matters. It's the patterns that matter, and it's the process that matters. Here's Brad. I love this. $1,400 gain in 6 minutes. I just want to show you all these students. Here's Mark. He traded the NVCN, and he made 150 bucks. Good job. After a bad day, nothing is better than taking small gains. These kinds of gains, I know it's not life-changing, but if you extrapolate this and you do this every day, every few days, guess what? It adds up. My top millionaire students and I are proof. Dean knows. Grew his account by 5% in 1 week. Do it every week, man. And don't force trades. Don't feel like you have to, okay? Be grateful for the 5%. Here's Brendan, in at 192, out at 203. And he said, one word, legend, changing my life, Timothy Sykes. Well, thank you, Brendan. I appreciate it. But I'm just a guy trying to share what I've learned over the years. I'm not a legend. You're a legend for studying, okay? You guys are the true legends. Look, he's got Muhammad Ali in the background. You guys are the legends for studying and putting in the work. I can't put in the work for you. I can share with you everything I've learned over the years. I can share with you patterns and, share with you stories about different students and, share with you my guides and stuff like that. But you guys have to be the legends because I can't put in the work for you. I can't just give you picks. That's not going to make you a millionaire. That turns you into a follower. No different than the fucking idiot monkeys who followed the ugly bald man on CNBC. And guess why CNBC's ratings are at multi-decade lows? Because they're followers. They're not learning anything. And the ugly bald man is only right about 30 to 35% of the time as exposed by Barron's. I'm right 70, 75% of the time. Okay? So you choose who you want to learn from or who you want to follow. I never want you following my picks. I never want you following anybody's picks. I want you learning and becoming self-sufficient. None of my millionaire students give a shit what I trade anymore because they have found what patterns work for them. I am just training wheels, and that is what I want to be. Here's Roland, made $1,000 on IDXG. He took the meat of the move. You can see all of his trades. And then Max here, biggest profit yet. His account is $250, and he made, I don't know, he was in on IDXG at 45, out at 65 cents. So he made 50% on a very small position. That's fantastic, okay? I love it. I would not chase IDXG here, by the way, okay? And I said this several times. I would not chase PMKR here at 870. I would not chase NVCN here at 210. Right now, I have no positions. That's why I have time to make this video lesson. Don't feel like you have to be in a stock all the time. Pick your spots carefully. NVCN, I was dip buying because I saw a consolidation zone. I saw a lot of dip buyers. That was cool. EMKR, I was buying yesterday, not today, because I saw that it was breaking past this kind of midday resistance here at 820-ish, and I thought that it could test 840 and 860, and I was right. So every trade I do is very methodical with very specific key prices, okay? I don't just chase anything. I don't just buy something because I want to. HIIQ, which was on my watch list, and I actually should have bought it, but there's just too many plays right now. This was a potential dip buy after 2 red days because this was an earnings winner. And now in 4 days, it's jumped right back and made new highs from the 11s to the 14s. Okay, so this might be a higher price stock, but earnings winners can keep going. ASNA was on my watch list, and this keeps going. This is an earnings winner. EMKR could very well keep going. But for me, more important, I just want to make my 4, 5, 10, sometimes 15 or 20% and move on. Every single play helps me grow my account, and my $12,000 account is now nearly $105,000 by year end. Next year, I'm going back to just $5,000, and you're going to see how I grow it methodically, trade by trade. I know that the world thinks that penny stocks are a scam. If you treat them in the wrong way and you just buy them randomly, yes, you will likely get random results. I don't want you getting random results. That makes me look bad, that makes penny stocks look bad, and that makes you, just discouraged from studying. In order to keep studying, in order to truly fulfill your destiny, which is becoming a millionaire and living the life that you deserve to, you need to study your ass off. So you need to be encouraged. So when I show you students like Max, who made 50%, Roland, who made $1,000, Brendan, who made a few $100, D Knows, who's growing his account by 5%, Mark, who made $150, Brad, who made $1,400, Danny, who made $150, Joe, who made $270, Orlando, who made $275, Kenny, who made $1,700 and now $7,000, nearly $7,000 in 3 days, and then Devin, who's tripled his account in 1 day. Use this as inspiration to see what other people are doing. They're showing screenshots. They're trying to show you, wait a minute, this is possible. But what all of these students have in common is that they have studied their butt off. None of this is random. None of this is just buying a hot penny stock. This is all due to following the rules in these guides. So this is it. I'm not extending it anymore. But after today, I'm more encouraged than ever to teach you guys and change your freaking lives. Education is key. Success is required. Patience is required. Discipline is required. Perseverance is required. And if you do that, you will become my next millionaire student. I know it sounds impossible. It's not. More and more students are becoming self-sufficient and wealthy. Eric is just the latest. Okay? This is freaking awesome. And it's small trades at a time. Look at Eric's Twitter, by the way. Okay, he made $1,000 on Cool. He made $2,600 on IDXG. He thought he was done for the day. You know, he's still trading. He's still looking at it. Look, he's like, might take the rest of the day off after IDXG. He wrote it for like 20%. But then he saw the opportunity on Cool. So once you have the knowledge, you can start seeing the opportunities pop up again and again and again. And you don't have to trade. You can always say, just might take the rest of the day off. But when an opportunity pops up, it's very difficult to ignore it. One of my favorite trading stories is the fact that I missed my college graduation. Some of you guys don't realize this, but you know, you work all your life for college graduation. I graduated from Tulane University down in New Orleans. My parents, my grandparents are sitting in the hot New Orleans sun. They're calling my name. They called it twice. I wasn't there. I was making a trade. I made several $1,000s, nearly enough to pay for one semester. So I will warn you, it's not all roses if you study hard and if you actually profit and you get into this. This is a very addictive game. The profits are addictive. When you learn how to make a few $1,000s in a day, you want that feeling all the time because you feel fucking special. Trust me, I've started with just a few $1,000s and I feel very fucking special over the years. So you have to control your addiction. You have to realize, guess what? You don't need to study. No, you don't need to trade all day. My bad. I'm ranting a little bit. I'm pumped up thinking about how many people I'm going to reach. Even if I just reach one person, if there's just one of you out there who actually listens to me and heeds this advice about studying hard and becoming my next 6 or 7 figure student, then my job is done. I don't care if I piss off 1 million people. Non-students don't matter. Only disciplined, dedicated students matter. So again, I have to repeat, if you think I'm a scam, don't bother studying. Don't bother wasting my time. Don't make me repeat myself. Just leave. Exit the door quietly. Close this video. Because I don't care if you think I'm a scam. I don't need more students. I'm already overwhelmed as it is. I'm in the beautiful position of getting to choose my students. If you want to change your life, you have to prove to me that you're dedicated. You have to prove to my team. We don't just accept anybody anymore. It's very good to be real in an industry full of scams, you know? Remember, most traders lose money, 90%. But the cool thing is that over the past 8 years now, I have documented every single pattern, rule, lesson, setup. So I'm basically just a glorified history teacher. These guides that I'm pushing on you, these are history lessons. Okay, if you sign up for the newsletters like Penny Stocking Silver, comes with 4,000 plus video lessons. All of these are guides on different patterns from the past. And some of the patterns are exactly the same. More important than the patterns themselves are the theories and the rules on how to adapt to changing market conditions, how to adapt to whatever is hot, how to adapt to the right patterns and the right plays, and what happens if you're in a play and it doesn't work out. You need to be prepared for that too. Otherwise, you're just a deer in headlights, as I know too many unprepared students and non-students are. Before you come to me, I know a lot of people say, oh, they lose 5,000, 10,000, 50, 100,000 because they don't have the rules. They don't have a framework. They don't know the patterns. They haven't studied their history. If you're going into politics and you haven't studied history, guess what? You're in for a rude awakening. If you're getting into the stock market and you don't know stock market history, again, rude awakening. I don't want that happening to you. I want more 6 and 7 figure students, starting with just a few hundred or a few $1,000s. That's it for today. I'm going to get back to trading. It's midday, so you actually probably shouldn't trade during midday. Go make a video lesson, go work out, go hang out with friends, go have a nice lunch, whatever you want. Midday is usually slowest. Focus on the market open and the market close. Those are the 2 most volatile times. And we've had a whole hell of a lot of plays today. So I'm actually going to go work out. I'm feeling kind of pumped up right now. I'll see you guys in the chat room. Seriously, 24 hours, then the sale ends. This is your final chance. I've extended this many more times than I should have, but I want you getting the proper education. Cheers.